I want to talk to you about what I call extraordinary vision. Every year, I take a break from my speaking business, usually once a year, just sort of on ad hoc, but usually once a year, I guide a trip, a photographic trip to East Africa to see the great wildebeest migration, which is just, it's an unbelievable phenomenon, really. There's no other way to describe it. It's incredible. Sometimes in the February time frame, there are literally herds of tens of thousands of some zebra, but mostly wildebeest, that mass on the open plains in the southern area of the Serengeti, an area called Ndutu. Anyone been to the Serengeti? Okay. Quite a few of you. Okay. So imagine for just a minute. Close your eyes, please. Close your eyes. Don't fall asleep. Close your eyes. Blue skies. White, puffy clouds over these vast, undulating, unending, wide open plains of short grass, visibility for miles. Hardly a tree in sight, except for the very occasional massive umbrella thorn acacia tree, like the ones you see on the postcards, just peppering the landscape. And when the herds are on these plains, there are literally animals everywhere, as far as your eye can see, 360 degrees around you, all the way to the horizon, wall-to-wall animals. And if you have a look at this photo, because the plains in the Ndutu area are so open and flat, I mean, they're literally just a couple of trees, and then there's nothing. Because it's so open and flat, it's perfect habitat for cheetah, because cheetah need that wide open space to run down their prey. And the cheetah viewing in the Serengeti is brilliant. I think it was about, I have to remember now, but I think it was about 5 years ago. I was guiding a safari in East Africa, in Tanzania. And I was guiding a 9-day safari, and it was the last day. And it was our last morning. We'd actually finished our safari. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning, and we were going back to the lodge, getting ready to catch a plane to fly out of this little lodge that we were at into a small town called Arusha. And we're driving on the way back to the lodge, and it's a beautiful, clear sky, beautiful day, and it's already getting quite hot. And I see a whole lot of vultures circling in the sky. Now, that can mean two things. Vultures sometimes use the thermals. When it's a cloudy day, they might use the thermals just to patrol the skies to see what they see. But when it's a clear day, and there are lots of vultures circling, there's a kill there. And I said, come, we're going. And we drive towards where I can see the vultures on. They may be a kilometer away from us. And as we get closer, I can see some of the vultures descending. They're coming down. They're landing. And so I said, come, drive. We're driving faster. And we get close. And as we get to maybe 200 or 300 yards away from where these vultures are now clearly landing, we find 4 cheetah. Mom, this is mom, and 3 sub-adult cubs. And they were walking away from what was left of their breakfast. They'd killed something, and that's why the vultures were there. They were walking away with full bellies, having eaten their fill, to walking down towards the tree line, which was about also maybe a kilometer away, to get out of that brutal, hot equatorial sun that just beats down on those open areas. You know, the cats, if you have a house cat, you'll know, their metabolism is not very well adapted to being in the heat for long periods of time. And so they're walking, and mom's walking in front, and the 3 youngsters are walking maybe 10, 15 yards behind, and they're jumping on top of each other, and they're playing with each other. It was wonderful. We followed them for about maybe 5 minutes or so, when all of a sudden, mom stopped, and she turned to face completely the opposite direction to where they were headed. And I could see from her body language, she'd seen something. She'd seen their dessert. And I thought, no. All the field guides, all the textbooks I had to read to study, to qualify to become a ranger, they all said the same thing. Number one, the cheetah has a very limited appetite. Physiologically, their stomach is very small. They cannot eat a lot. Number 2, cheetahs have very limited stamina. Unbelievably fast, but only over a relatively short distance with a long recovery time. And so the cheetah will tend to hunt about every 36 to 48 hours, which is a lot like the employees of some of the companies I talk to. And every couple of days they do about 5 minutes work. So the cheetah will not eat immediately after just having killed and eaten. They won't expend the energy, and they can't. But she obviously hadn't read the manual. Because I could see from the way she shuffled her shoulders back, she pinned her ears down, she definitely seen something. When I look to see what she's looking at, I can see about 300 yards away a white speck.